You are listening to the podcast That's Life in Sweden, or as we say in Swedish, Sånt, livet i Sverige, with me, your host, Lisa Åsimäki. Hello and welcome, Marika. How are you this morning?
I'm fine, thank you. I like this winter morning, so it's beautiful outside.
Okay. Yeah, you like it. I'm not so sure about it. It's too cold. It's too cold.
I like when it's snow. When we live in Sweden and when it's winter, I want it to be snow.
Yes.
And cold.
Okay. Yeah, I like the snow, but not necessarily the freezing cold. But anyway, it is life living here in Sweden. So
Yes.
To get a sense of who you are, a little bit about your background, can you share with us your reasons to become a teacher and the journey that took you to the role as a school principal?
Okay. I started to... I decided to be a teacher when I was around my 30s, and I had my two children, and I thought to myself, okay, now, Marika, you have to be a grown-up. What do you want to do? And I started to be a teacher, and I worked as a teacher for like 10 years or something like that. And I really, really loved it. I love the students, and I love the moments when you have a lesson and you see the students is with you and you see the sparkle in their eyes and everything like that. I really, really loved it. But when I had worked as a teacher in, like 10 years, I thought to myself, it's time to move on. And it wasn't because I was, fed up with it. It was more like it wasn't a challenge anymore. And I didn't want to be this teacher who is a boring teacher and tired and think that the work is, you have to do it because you need the money. So I thought to myself, okay, now it's time to move on, to do something totally different. And then I got this question from the man who was my principal at the time, and he asked me if I'd like to be his vice principal. And I said, okay. I didn't saw that coming, so I just, okay, but just for half time, because I had these students who was going to graduate a year later. I wanted to follow them to the end. And so I started to work as a vice principal, and when I had been a vice principal for like 7-8 months, I had this question if I would like to move to Gothenburg to start a private school as a principal. So I did that. I said, okay, that time as well. So, and I'm still on that road. I worked at this private school for 2 years, and then I wanted to go back to the public schools. So I started to work as a principal in Borås in Sweden.
Okay.
And after 2.5 years, I had this question from the man who was responsible for the schools in Northern Angered in Gothenburg, if I would like to. It was a question at first, but then it was rather a demand. He wanted me to start as a principal at the school where I am now, and I said no. And I said no several times until I realized this is just the challenge I need. So I've been here for 6.5 years, and I really, really love it.
So you work as a principal in Angered, which is a school that is situated in a segregated area that is known for high concentration of ethnic minorities, high unemployment, problems with gangs and criminal activity, and sounds like you chose to accept the challenge of working at the school.
Yeah, I really did.
Yes. I mean, I'm considering about there is a lot of problems
Yeah.
attracting principals to take on the challenge working in schools in these areas. And you know what? Despite a couple of horrendous incidents that has taken place in the school, for example, there is an unsolved murder case of a teacher that goes back to 2017, and last year, in 2020, you had a teacher that was kidnapped but who was later released. Now, I respect that you cannot provide details of either incidents, but I'm curious how these incidents have changed you in your role as the school's leader.
At first, I want to say that the reason why I really wanted to work at this area is because I think I can make a difference. Not alone, of course, but with my teachers and with everyone who we cooperate with outside the school. Because I think that is what have driven me so far as a teacher as well as a principal. And I think in this area, if you work in this area, you have to realize that it's not just as a school principal you work as a principal for all the area. And I think those incidents that you mentioned, they haven't changed me as a leader of the school, but I think they have developed me, because I've learned to lead through crisis, and I have learned a lot about me as a leader in crisis. And I think it's also this feeling that it's even more important to be here where I am, to make the difference for the children, for everybody who lives and work in this area. I think it's so important that we are the good guys, and we have to prove for the students and for us and everybody in Lövgärdet, in Angered, where I work, and for everybody else who think that this is a place where you have to be afraid, because it's not. It's a wonderful place, and our students, our kids are like everybody else, with the different opportunities, and with tough opportunities as well. And we have to be there, and we have to show them that they have every possibilities to make life changes.
What is it particularly that has changed you in, I'm thinking about what kind of, if you were to describe yourself as a leader, what kind of leader are you?
I think if you ask my teachers or everybody else who works with me, I think they said that I'm very positive. Sometimes I think they think that I'm too positive.
Okay.
And I think they say that I'm a good listener, and I'm good to people trust in me, and I trust in people. I think they can feel the trust from me, and they know that they can make their own choices to if they think that this is good for the organization and for the students, they're not afraid to do that, because they know that I'm with them, and they know that if I should if they do something that I don't think it's so good, they know that I'm still there and hold their back.
Yeah.
And then I talk to them in privacy and said, oh, that was not so good, but okay, we fix it together. And I think that I'm very, I put up, we go in that way, and I'm good at make people to see, we are going to, I always say we're going to this sunny island somewhere, and that's the road, and we have to, yeah. And I also think I'm good at, you always have this, those who want to run a bit faster.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm good to let them do that. And I also think I'm also quite good to listen to those who are a bit, I think it was better before. And I ask them, okay, what do we have to bring with us on our journey? So yeah, I think, yeah, and I think I'm what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think so. It's hard to describe yourself.
I know. So I put you a little bit in a spot. But you know what? I think leadership, when you think about leadership and everything that you have mentioned, it sounds very much that you're all about developing trust and positive relationships.
Yeah, and I think I'm also, I'm present, and it doesn't mean for me that I'm whenever someone call my name, I come running. I think I have built this organization where everybody knows that if they want to ask me something, or if they need me in anything, it can be with a meeting with a parent, or they want me to come to visit their lesson or something like that. They know I'm always there.
Mm-hmm.
And it means that they know if they send me a text message or an email, they know I answer. And if they ask me, can you help me with this? I do that, or I help them to help themselves.
Yes.
To develop their self. So I think that's important in organization. You have to have this organization where you have this where everybody can feel that they have a responsibility for that what I do make a difference.
Mm-hmm. And what we do in our work is affecting everyone.
Yes, and if you're a leader, you have to be the one who, I have to show the way, not only with words. It's what I do.
Exactly.
It's when I in the morning stand in the school and say good morning to everybody, or if I when I see something on the floor, I pick it up.
Yes.
If they're rubbish or something, and I when I see someone, a visitor, I said, "Oh, hello, welcome to us." Everything. What I want to see in the school, I have to live it myself.
Of course, you walk your talk.
Yes, please.
That's
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know, I know we had this conversation in Swedish, and what I was really interested in, and I'd love for you to share a little bit about how you develop trust and your positive relationship. You have mentioned your students and with your colleagues, your teachers, but what about the families in the area? I know you got some a particular way that seemed to develop the importance of trust with them. Can you explain a little bit?
I write them a letter every Sunday afternoon. I write a letter to the parents. And I think that is, I've always been written letters to the families, that since the coronavirus, I wrote this letter once a month, and now I do it once a week, because when the coronavirus came up last spring, 2020, I wrote letters, it could be 5 or 6 times a week. And then it's ended that I do it once a week, Sundays. And I think that I can see that it has the letters. I don't have this, complaints from parents like I used to have before. Of course, I still have parents who phones me or text me if they feel that something's not good. But I think now they know that I will write them, and I write about things that happens in school. I write about the coronavirus still, and I write about the importance that their children read books. And I even write about things when it happens, things outside, when it could be, like there have been difficult things, when it has been, we have seen drug dealers, or it has been some even worse things like murder or something like that. I write about those things too.
Yes.
And I can write about that I had talked to the police, and they said this or that, and you can trust us, and we take care of your kids or whatever. So they have. I not only think that it's important. I know it's important, and I had this Sunday. I had one parent. She wrote me back, and she said that, oh, I love your letters, and I love that you every Sunday, or almost every Sunday, write about the importance to read books. So I think it's great. It's really great, and I also write letters to my colleagues or my teachers every week. I think that is important. It's an easy way to communicate.
Yes.
It doesn't take so much time, and it's important. Where I work, it's like 8,000 people who lives there, and now almost everyone knows who I am. I have the people who can say, you are the principal. So yeah, I'm the principal. So I think that is important when you work in a smaller area.
And what you're actually saying is that it's about being approachable. People don't feel intimidated just because you're the principal, that they cannot contact you and talk to you. And many of them don't have an educational background like a lot of the Swedish kids are used to.
Yeah, that's right, and that's quite a problem in many ways. But one thing is it's that the parents doesn't really understand the Swedish school system, where you have this duty to bring your kids to the school, where they can take. We're going to our homeland for Christmas, and we're going to be away for 3 weeks or something like that, and they don't always realize when I said no, it's not okay. So there, I had this dialogues with parents, not quite often now. Like it was in the beginning. In the beginning, when I started to work, I had, for 6 years ago, I had a lot of parents. I had angry parents, sad parents, everything. When I said, I won't let your kid go away on vacation. That can be a problem. And it's also a problem because, there are a lot of people living in a small apartment, so the kids doesn't have a place for their own to do their homeworks. And because of the language, the parent they can't always help their own kids. So, but we work with different organizations who come to us after school and help kids with their homeworks. So I think that's also important. We have to cooperate with organizations, private organizations and public organizations, with things outside school as well, and with the parents, of course. So it's not just to compensate during the school time. You have to do it after school as well, so they have this a spare time where they also do things that make them feel good. So they won't make criminal choices. And you have to ask for permission, and I can give permission for the children to go if they like to go to on a vacation. But the first thing is that the kid needs to succeed in school, and that it's hard to do because the parents say, "Oh, but the teacher can send them material so they can study when we're abroad." And I say, no, because if I do that, I said to the teacher, you have to work a little bit more because you have to make sure that this kid has education when he or she is abroad. And that can be hard to understand. It's easier now because now, it's the parent knows me, and I think perhaps the reputation also has been follows through. So even though when they are new kids who come to school, the parents know. I'm always, the first letter I write to the parents in August when the school start is, I'm very, very, very restrictive with to give the kids the time to go to vacation. Very, very restrictive.
It is difficult to attract teaching staff to segregated areas, but you don't have this problem. Why do you think this is the case?
It's a truth with modification. Of course, we also have problems to get teachers. It's not all the time, but we have the last years we have been rather successful in several cases, and we have in Sweden you have to be not just have the education to be a teacher or have the education in the subjects. You have to be a legitimized teacher in Sweden, and we have around 80% who are legitimized in our school, and that's really good. It's not good because we would have 100%, but it's quite good on the circumstances. But I think it's we have a reputation who's getting better, and we also have people who work at our school also talk good about the school. So we have a teacher who they do this spontaneous, send me a mail and write that, I'm soon finishing my education, or I have heard about you, or something like that, and I would like to work with you. So I think it's because of what we do that makes a difference even there. If people hear about us and they read about us and they see watch us in television or that thing. So I think that and we're doing good work, and I think teacher, they know that they can if they come to us, they also develop themselves as a teacher and as a human being as well, I think. And if you believe that you can make a difference, and if you can feel it when you work at our school, it's the best place to be. You wouldn't be in another place. I hear several of my teachers said, I'm going to be here. When they're like 10 years from retire, they say, it's here I'm going to be. I love this place, and I can feel I make a difference, and I would like to stay. And I think that's why we attract teachers.
Absolutely. And that is, of course, because of your leadership, how you lead the school and how you allow for that autonomy where teachers make their own choices.
Yeah, and I had one teacher, he said to me, for I think it was a year ago or something like that, when we have recruited a new teacher, and he said, Marika, you're doing good work. And I said, but it's not just me. I can be good to recruit teachers, but it's them. When they are my teachers who take care of the teachers.
Yes.
And they're doing a great job. And
yes.
They make them to feel welcome, and they are there. They answer the questions. They show them how to do things. And so we're doing it together.
Exactly. Now, a lot of school systems worldwide are grappling with the idea of raising the status of the teaching profession. From your perspective, if you look at the status of teachers, what do you think needs to be done?
I think a lot of things is happening in Swedish school system right now. There has been a lot of years when the media and the politics, that when they have talked or written about school, it has been like the school. For one thing, the school needs to do everything. If the kids don't eat the right thing, it's a school problem. If the kids don't, if they are in the social medias and harass each other, it's a school problem. And I can continue with several examples, but I think now there have been I think it's beginning to turn around. The media is more, I wouldn't say always positive, but more, it's not black or white, it's more like nuanced. And I think also in the new curriculum, it's going to start to from the summer. We're going to have it. It's more like you put the responsibility back to the teacher and the responsibility to choose for themselves. You have this curriculum, and you have I think the trust for the professionals are growing from the government, which we can see in many ways. So, and if the trust comes back, the statue is going to be higher again. And I think in our school, I always said to the teachers, you are the professionals. When parents or others say something and demand something, you have to stand up for yourself and say, I'm educated. I know these things. So it has been complicated for many years, but I think we can see the light right now.
Okay, so
I hope so.
Yes, changes are happening. You know, the Swedish
Yeah.
schooling system is often described as a school for all. Do you believe
Yeah.
Swedish schooling is a school for all?
No, not now, but I hope we can be.
So in what ways do you think we need to rethink our schooling system to become more inclusive? I mean, you know, we throw out these words inclusive, equitable, and fair.
Yeah. I think there are a lot of beautiful words, but when you come to practice, it's not so beautiful. I think we have to. If I was the one who decides everything, I would have rebuilt almost every school in Sweden, but that's too much to do. But I think we have to. The politic has to understand that it's we have today if you see in school with a multicultural, you have kids with every background. They have a different opportunities, and it means that they take different times to learn things, and you have to have a different. When we talk about how do you compensate, and I talk about hours. We need to talk about hours. How much time do we need to do our work so the students reach as far as possible? I think the politics also have to understand that it's going to cost money, but it's an investigation. We have to do this for everybody's sake, for the democracy. I think it's. I think we have to rethink about the school.
Yeah.
A lot.
You know, one of the you mentioned politics, and of course we have seen a bit of a change in not necessarily in the governing party, but our government has got a new minister of education in Lina Axelsson Kihlblom, who also is a former principal and who has got quite a bit of media attention, as you have. How confident are you about the future support for students, particularly in segregated areas, to achieve the educational outcomes that are experienced, in fact taken as given by students studying in non-segregated areas?
I'm always confident that there are going to be difference, that are going to be better days, and I really appreciate that it's Lina who now is our new Minister of Education, and I believe it's really important that her background is as she has been a school principal. I think, and she worked in a school like my school, so she understands that. And I really hope that she can influence the politics for real, because I believe that it's they think. I mean, everybody wants to have a good school. Everybody wants every kid in Sweden to succeed in school. Every politic party or everybody. But they don't believe it, or they don't know how the situation is. They think they know. I had a lot of politicians when we had this this kidnapping last year, I had a lot of politicians who wanted to come to visit us, and I sat with some of them in my office, and one of them said, I realize how you have it here. And I said to her, no. Or I really said, bullshit, you don't have a clue. Because if you had, it wasn't, it would have seemed different. We had different school, and she was quiet for the rest of the meeting. It really frustrates me when the politics think they know, because they don't. They know. They think they know when they read, and think they know in the head, but they don't know in the heart. And you have to know both in the head and the heart how it really, really is.
Yes, and you're absolutely right. And that's why I brought up Lina, because I thought, like you, you need to have people who actually understand the reality of schooling today, rather than, just, I don't know how there's a lot of assumptions made by people about what a school is, what a good teacher is, what a good principal is. And, unfortunately, a lot of it is absolute rubbish.
Yeah.
And so there you are, and you know what the issues are. But the reality is that the government, a lot of the schools are government run. So it is, and a lot of the decisions are taken at the government level. And that's why, you got to have people who come from the world of schooling, particularly from segregated areas, to really understand what sort of support are needed.
Yes. You can take this example when you talk about the government. When they talk about mobile phones, and I'd be like, no, we can handle mobile phones. It's not a question for the government to talk about mobile phones. It's I feel sometimes, or not just sometimes, I feel it very often, that the politics, and when I talk about politics now, I mean the government. Yeah. The local politics, I have them closer, but the government, they it's like it's like a joke when they talk about mobile phones. It's they are going to talk about what do we want to happen. And leave the how to us.
Yes.
They have to trust in us. And if they don't trust, if they think I'm doing a bad job, then take me away from the school. Make sure they are the best principals in every school. Yeah. And you have to trust them.
Absolutely. So it's all about trust.
Yes. And relationships.
Absolutely. And those trusting relationships doesn't happen overnight. And that relates back to the questions about the teachers' status of the teachers. And if teachers don't feel that they have trust, and that they're allowed to, the freedom to trust their profession, who they are as educators. I only agree with you. I think you are absolutely fabulous, and it's absolutely so exciting to have had this chat with you this morning. But before we begin end, is there anything that comes to your mind that you want to add to this conversation that is of particular importance to you?
Yes, that is one thing, that our students in our school in these areas, they are just like any other kid from any place in the world. I think that's so important to understand, that they are kids with Some days you are so tired of them, and some days you love them with all your heart, just like every other kid.
Yeah.
That's really important.
When people try to put you down, tell them that they ain't allowed. Look, yeah, I know I'm all that, cause I'm keeping it cool. Follow the rules, very smart in everything that I do. I'm an individual too, always making a move. Ain't no clues for the people thinking life is a cruise. It's time to get with the plan, man, just take a start. Keep dreaming large, utilizing every part of your heart. Life is cool in the breeze when you're making your mark. Just like a walk in the park, get to know who you are. So know yourself, take the lead, indeed, forget the greed. Gotta believe in you, nobody can set you free. It seems if you fight, you'll achieve the things you need. Don't ever give up the hope, there's not a time to retreat. Please know you're the one that people trust. If you're down with a frown, your plans will turn to dust. If you stay in the zone,